The alien lecture hall hummed with quiet anticipation. Dozens of students, representing species from across the galaxy, settled into their floating seats, their appendages twitching in curiosity. The holographic screen at the front flickered, projecting a spinning, blue-green planet. It was small, unassuming, and yet, the atmosphere in the room grew tense as its name appeared in glowing, ominous letters. Earth. Their instructor, a tall, translucent being with swirling patterns of bioluminescence across their skin, paused to let the weight of the moment sink in. Today, we will discuss why this seemingly insignificant planet is classified as a death world. They began, their voice resonating with gravitas. You've studied countless worlds. Calm, hospitable, predictable. Earth is none of these things. The room fell silent, the students leaning forward. Some had heard whispers of Earth, the terrifying anomaly in an otherwise orderly universe. Others had dismissed it as exaggerated folklore. But now they were about to learn the truth. The first hollow image appeared, an endless stretch of jagged, snow-covered mountains. Earth's climate is erratic, the instructor explained. On many worlds, temperatures remain stable. Here, they swing wildly, from scorching deserts to frozen tundras. Survival on Earth requires adaptation to extremes. A student with delicate, gossamer wings raised a hand. How do its inhabitants endure such conditions? Wouldn't they simply perish? The instructor's patterns flickered in what could only be described as amusement. Oh, they do perish, constantly. Yet the species you call humans have an extraordinary ability, resilience. Unlike most intelligent life forms, they do not wait for their environment to change for them. They adapt. They innovate. They fight. The words sent a ripple of unease through the room. One student whispered to another, "They fight their own world?" The next projection was even more shocking. A vast ocean, roiling with waves as high as mountains. The planet's surface is over 70% liquid, and its oceans are as dangerous as they are beautiful. Predators lurk beneath, some larger than spacecraft. Currents can drag even the strongest swimmer to their doom. And yet, humans not only traverse these waters, they've conquered them. They build vessels to explore, harvest, and even wage war upon the sea. The room gasped. To species that had evolved in safe, predictable environments, the very concept was horrifying. On their own planets, oceans were placid, controlled. But Earth's seas seemed like living entities, ready to swallow life whole. The instructor's tone darkened. And it is not just the oceans. Earth's skies unleash storms that shred landscapes. Its ground quakes and splits. It is a planet in constant rebellion against its inhabitants. As the lecture continued, the students learned about Earth's predators, venomous creatures, apex hunters, microorganisms invisible to the eye yet capable of ending life in hours. Each revelation was more unsettling than the last. The students' initial curiosity gave way to dread. One student, a crystalline being whose species lived in perfect harmony with their serene, mineral-rich planet, whispered aloud, "Why would anyone choose to stay there?" The instructor's glowing patterns dimmed. Because Earth's inhabitants don't merely survive, they thrive. They have no choice. On a death world, weakness means extinction. But then came the most unsettling part of the lecture, humanity itself. The next image showed humans in their primitive state, clad in animal hides, wielding crude tools, their eyes sharp with hunger and determination. Humans are the apex species of Earth, the instructor said. Not because they are the strongest or fastest, but because they are relentless. Their intelligence allows them to shape their world, to turn predators into prey, to transform natural resources into weapons, tools, and even monuments. They have learned not only to survive Earth's challenges but to manipulate them. A new image appeared, showing towering cities, their lights glowing defiantly against the darkened skies. But this ingenuity comes at a cost. Humans are as destructive as they are creative. They exploit their planet, driving other species to extinction, altering ecosystems, and even threatening their own existence. The room fell silent again. The students, who had been so fascinated by humanity's resilience, now felt a creeping unease. Was this a species to be admired or feared? The instructor paused, letting the students process what they had seen. You may wonder why humanity is studied so intensely. It is not just their world that makes them dangerous. It is what they could become. The final hollow image appeared, rockets launching into the vastness of space, their trails burning bright against the void. Humans are already seeking to leave Earth. Their technology is primitive by our standards, but their determination is unmatched. They will not be content to remain on their Deathworld. And when they leave, the instructor's voice trailed off, leaving the implication hanging in the air. What happens when a species forged in such relentless adversity encounters the wider galaxy? The students left the lecture hall in stunned silence. For the first time, they felt vulnerable. Earth was just one small planet, yet its inhabitants had defied every natural law they'd ever known. As they floated back to their dormitories, one student asked quietly, "Do you think they'll find us someday?" Another replied, their voice trembling, "If they do, let's hope they come as friends." Far away, on the blue-green planet in question, a storm raged, lightning splitting the sky. And beneath it, humans went about their lives, unaware that they were the subject of such fearful fascination, unaware of the interstellar eyes watching them, and waiting. The alien students couldn't shake the feeling of dread as they moved through the corridors of their institution. Earth lingered in their thoughts, its name now carrying a weight they hadn't expected. Death worlds were rare in the galaxy, but Earth was something else entirely. A place where life not only endured but seemed to thrive on adversity. Back in their dormitory, a group of students gathered to dissect the day's lecture. The crystalline being, still visibly rattled, spoke first. "I can't believe it. How can a species evolve under such conditions? My planet, we've never even had predators. Our greatest challenge is finding new crystals to merge with. But these humans? They fight everything, each other, their planet, even their own limits." Another student, a tall insectoid with iridescent wings, chimed in. "And they keep winning. That's what terrifies me. Every hardship makes them stronger. They don't stop, they don't give up. How do you even negotiate with beings like that?" The youngest of the group, a small, amphibious creature with soft, translucent skin, piped up hesitantly. Maybe they don't want to fight. What if all that struggle is just survival? Maybe if they had a choice, they'd choose peace. The others fell silent for a moment, considering the possibility. Then the insectoid shook its head. "I don't think so. Did you see the part about their wars? They don't just fight because they have to. They fight because they want to. They create enemies where there are none. Even their history shows it, tribe against tribe, nation against nation. It's like conflict is built into them." The crystalline being flickered faintly, a sign of discomfort. "And yet they also create art, music, technology. They dream of exploration, of leaving their death world behind to touch the stars. I can't reconcile it. How can one species contain such contradictions?" Meanwhile, back in the lecture hall, the instructor remained, reviewing the day's material. They tapped their translucent fingers against the control panel, bringing up an image of Earth from space. The planet looked serene, its blue oceans and green continents swirling under a veil of clouds. It was a view that could lull an unknowing observer into a false sense of security. The instructor's thoughts drifted to a troubling question. What happens when humans leave their death world behind? Would they bring their resilience and innovation to uplift other species? Or would they carry their chaos with them, spreading it like a contagion? A voice interrupted their musings. It was the Dean, an ancient being with an aura of calm wisdom. "You chose Earth for today's lecture, I see," the Dean said, their form shimmering as they spoke. The instructor nodded. The students needed to understand. Earth is unlike any world we've studied. Its dangers forge a kind of life that defies everything we know. But humanity, they're the real anomaly. The Dean's patterns shifted in thought. "Do you think they are a threat?" The instructor hesitated. A threat? Perhaps. But also a possibility. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability might make them the key to solving challenges we can't even fathom yet. Their ability to adapt, to overcome, it's terrifying, yes, but also awe-inspiring. They are as much creators as they are destroyers. The galaxy may need both, someday. Back in the dormitories, the conversation among the students grew more heated. "What if they reach us?" the amphibious student whispered. "What if they come here, to our world? What do we do?" The insectoid student flared their wings in agitation. "We prepare. We build defenses. We keep them at bay. That's what we do." But the crystalline being, always more reflective, countered. "We welcome them. If they've endured so much, maybe they've earned a place among us. Maybe they could teach us something about strength, about resilience." The group fell silent again, the weight of the questions settling heavily on them. They were all too aware of the stories of first contact gone wrong, species wiped out by misunderstandings, alliances shattered by fear. And now, they faced the possibility of encountering a species born from a death world, a species that had conquered its own chaos. Days later, the instructor presented the final lecture on Earth. The topic? Humanity's potential. "They are a young species," the instructor began, their voice carrying a mix of caution and hope. "Their history is riddled with mistakes, yes. They war with one another, they exploit their planet, they stumble as often as they succeed. But they are also dreamers. They look to the stars not just with ambition, but with wonder. They imagine a future beyond their death world, a future where they are more than what they were forged to be." The students watched as images of human achievements flashed before them: spacecraft breaking through Earth's atmosphere, astronauts walking on the moon, massive telescopes peering into the depths of the universe. "They have the capacity for great destruction," the instructor continued, "but also for great creation. They are a paradox, and that is why we must approach them with caution and with curiosity." The lecture ended, and the students left, their thoughts a swirling mix of fear and admiration. One thing was certain: Earth was no ordinary world, and its inhabitants were no ordinary species. Far away, on Earth, a child looked up at the night sky, wondering if anyone was out there. Little did they know, their planet had already been discovered. And somewhere in the galaxy, alien students wondered if that child species was a beacon of hope or the harbinger of chaos yet to come. The alien students couldn't sleep that night. The lecture on Earth had left a deep imprint, one that even their most fantastical studies of black holes or quantum realms had failed to evoke. In the stillness of their dormitories, each of them grappled with the same question: what does it mean for a species to be born on a death world? For one student, a small, spherical being named Kara with a luminous core, the fascination ran deeper than mere curiosity. Kara stayed behind after the lecture, replaying the holograms of Earth's catastrophes: volcanoes erupting with rivers of molten rock, tornadoes tearing apart vast plains, wildfires devouring entire forests. The images were mesmerizing, horrifying, and somehow inspiring. Kara whispered to themselves, how do they not give up? How do they look at this chaos and still wake up every day ready to face it? Elsewhere, In a quiet corner of the galaxy, a different discussion unfolded. The dean of the institution met with a council of galactic scholars, the brightest minds from countless worlds. Earth, it seemed, had been more than a topic of academic study. It was now a subject of urgent debate. One council member, a sleek, feline-like being from a serene aquatic world, spoke first. Earthlings are unstable. Their resilience is admirable, yes, but their history shows they are reckless. They've destroyed parts of their own world to further their species. Imagine what they could do to ours. Another scholar, a serpentine entity with a voice that resonated like a deep bell, countered, but their flaws are what make them fascinating. On our worlds, life evolved in harmony with nature. We've never had to fight for survival the way they have. Imagine the innovations they could bring to our galaxy if we guided them. The dean, who had been silently listening, finally spoke. The question is not whether they are dangerous. The question is whether their danger can be channeled into something constructive. We've seen Deathworld species before. Most destroy themselves before reaching the stars. But humans are different. They've harnessed their chaos into progress. That is what makes them unique. The room fell quiet. The implications were clear. Humanity was at a crossroads, teetering between greatness and self-destruction. And the galaxy was watching. Meanwhile, Kara and their fellow students couldn't resist diving deeper into Earth's peculiarities. Late at night, they gathered in a common room, projecting more hollow recordings. One student, a spindly being with iridescent scales, played footage of a lion stalking a herd of zebras. "This is what amazes me," the scaled student said. "On my world, predators were eradicated thousands of years ago. We evolved in safety. But humans, they grew up surrounded by creatures like this. And instead of fleeing, they found ways to fight back." Karan nodded. And not just fight back, they learned to work with some of them. Wolves became dogs. Wild horses became companions. They don't just survive their environment, they change it. The insectoid student from earlier flared their wings in agitation. But that's exactly the problem. They're never satisfied. They keep pushing, keep taking. What happens when they've taken all their planet has to give? Kara's luminous core dimmed slightly as they considered this. Maybe that's why they look to the stars. Maybe they know they can't stay on Earth forever. Back on Earth, humanity continued its daily grind, blissfully unaware of the galactic debates raging over their existence. In one part of the world, a scientist stayed up late, coding algorithms for a telescope that would peer into the farthest reaches of the cosmos. In another, a farmer rose before dawn to tend to fields that had been battered by unseasonable storms. And in yet another, a child stood on a rooftop, staring at the night sky, wondering if anyone was looking back. If only they knew how many eyes were watching. Alien students, scholars, and leaders, all grappling with the question of what Earth and its people truly meant to the universe. The next lecture on Earth delved into humanity's ambition. The instructor showed footage of towering skyscrapers, sprawling metropolises, and the fiery launches of spacecraft breaking free of their planet's grasp. Humans are driven by a desire to go beyond their limits, they explained. Their environment forced them to innovate, to find ways to survive. But now they seek more than survival. They seek understanding, expansion, and connection. The students watched in awe as images of space exploration filled the screen. Rovers crawling across Mars, probes journeying into the unknown, a space station orbiting the fragile blue planet. But this ambition is a double-edged sword, the instructor warned. Their desire to conquer the stars could lead to incredible discoveries or to catastrophic conflicts. And that is why Earth is both a beacon of hope and a cause for concern. One student raised a hand. Do you think they'll ever leave their death world behind entirely? The instructor's patterns flickered thoughtfully. Perhaps. But even if they do, they will carry Earth with them, in their instincts, in their culture, in the very essence of who they are. A death world shapes its inhabitants in ways that cannot be erased. As the lecture ended, Kara lingered once again, staring at the final image. A human astronaut standing on the surface of the moon, Earth glowing brightly in the distance. "They're more like us than we think," Kara said quietly, speaking to no one in particular. The instructor, overhearing, turned and regarded the glowing student. "How so?" Kara's core pulsed. "Because we all started somewhere dangerous. Maybe their danger is just more obvious. But their struggle, their hope, that's something we all share, isn't it?" The instructor considered this, their patterns shifting into a soft glow of agreement. Perhaps. And perhaps that is why we watch them so closely. In their story, we may find reflections of our own. And so, far away from Earth, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, the question remained, would humanity rise above its death world origins, or would it become the galaxy's greatest cautionary tale? Only time and the stars would tell.